Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Silly Point. Um, we've got Zaid here with me. Pretty much the same team as you've had in the last couple of months, the Z and G show. Today, we're going to be discussing the England-Australia ODI series. Obviously, the T20 series is ongoing, so we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. But our main focus is going to be to preview the ODI series and give you guys our thoughts on the starting 11s and the overall score line. So yeah, please do like, share, and subscribe. And do let us know in the comments what you think about our content, and if you'd like to see any other interesting topics that we're not doing. So with that, let's kick off. So Zayed, what do you think? Obviously, we've had one T20. We're going to have another T20 later today.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's going to be followed by the third T20, followed by three ODIs. So what's your take on England and Australia's performance so far?
Yeah. Obviously, just a caveat. By the time this probably gets released, the second T20 might have happened. So everything I say now might completely be disregarded. But as we've also been discussing in our WhatsApp chat, I'm a big fan of the full strength England white ball team.
Yeah.
Is amazing. And although they nearly lost the first game, they didn't bat very well, and they should have lost the first game in all honesty. And if you put in the likes of Jason Roy and Ben Stokes in that 11, then they're pretty exceptional. So for me, I still think England are, again, not being biased just because of what we saw in the first T20. But I think England are much stronger. Australia, again, I think the issue is, and it was pretty much exposed again in the first T20, their middle order is very weak. Maxwell struggling, he's very frustrating. I mean, he has that glimpses in him where he can perform, but I think he should be a Pakistani player given how much potential he has and how much he performs. Because he just gets out playing a good shot, and Stoinis as well. I don't think he's as good as people think he is. But overall, I still think England are significantly, they are favourites, not just for the T20 series. Obviously, they're already ahead, but also for the one days.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with your thoughts. If England play full strength, then they're the best white ball team out there in the world. They're even better than India. I think the other thing about
we've just lost 50 subscribers from India, but
but that's the truth. I mean, obviously, India are a pretty close second.
Yeah,
I would say England's batting is slightly better than India's, but then India's bowling is slightly better than England's.
Yeah, maybe that's our next episode. Do a man-for-man comparison, England versus India.
Exactly. We keep coming up with these ideas on when we're doing our videos, which is great. But no, I think the thing that stands out with England is the bounce back ability factor.
Yeah.
They showed that in the T20 series against Pakistan. Even if they're down and out, they will come out all guns blazing.
Yeah.
Even if they're 100 for 5, they can chase down a target of 220. That's what this England team can do, and they've shown that with their bowling, surprisingly, against Australia. Australia need 36 of 30, 39 of 36 in the first T20, and England defended that. So I think a lot of credit for that goes to Win Morgan.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'd say T20 National Series scoreline will be 2-1 to England.
Yeah, I don't know. They could also win the last. Well, they could also win both of them and make it 3-0.
3-0.
To be honest.
One thing I'll say about Australia is they've had a pretty good run over the last 1 or 2 years with T20s. They've won a majority of their series, and the main thing is they've had good continuity.
Yeah.
The same players that we saw in the first T20 have played regularly in those particular roles. Except for maybe Stoinis, because instead of Stoinis, you had Mitchell Marsh.
But it's the same. That's the same thing. I think they're equally not good.
They're equally good, not good. However you want to look at it. My opinion is, I think Stoinis deserves a long run in that middle order.
Yeah.
I think he needs some time to settle there. They can't just, bring him in, expect him to score good runs, and then, in 1 or 2 games, and that's it. I feel he's certainly better than Wade and Mitchell Marsh. That's
Yeah,
what.
but I think that's the problem with Australia. They're too reliant on Warner and Finch. If they flop,
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
think they'll struggle. Yeah, yeah.
Should we move on to the ODI series?
Yeah, let's move on to the ODI series. So maybe we start quickly with the predicted 11s
Yeah, sure.
for both England and Australia.
Yeah,
Starting with England.
yeah,
The big obviously question mark is Jason Roy if he's going to be fit.
yes.
Um, let's assume that he is.
I don't personally. I don't think he will be. I think he might be fit maybe for the second or third ODI, which
Okay,
is when he can come in. But if he isn't fit, then England. It's very easy for England to pick their
Banton.
openers. So you've got Banton and Besto to
Yeah,
open.
Banton and Bairstow or Roy and Bairstow if Roy's
Yeah,
fit.
Rohan Besto if he's
Yeah.
fit, followed by Root
Two
at three,
root. Yeah, root at three, Morgan at
at
four.
four. Yeah, I agree. Uh,
But that's the question, right? So if Roy is fit, then they might have Banton at five, right?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean, personally, I'd give Sam Billings a go,
Yeah,
right? Because you've got Butler at 6, who's a shoe-in.
yeah,
That's confirmed. The question is number 5.
yeah,
Is if Roy is fit, then you can move Banton to 5.
yeah,
Um, or if Roy is not fit and Banton is opening, then you've got Billings at 5. But personally,
yeah,
I'd give Billings a shot because he's that perfect middle order player. He's
yeah,
good in he'll be good in the T20s and the ODIs as well.
yeah,
So yeah. The other thing is it's a no-brainer because he's done Billings has done really well in the Island series
yeah.
in that middle order role. So I think
True.
he should get a chance. So yeah, him at 5 and Butler at 6.
Well, the Ireland series isn't a benchmark as we saw with David Willey, man
Yeah.
of the series and gets dropped. So I'm not sure how much of a benchmark England hold that as, but
I disagree with that completely. I
yeah.
think David Willey is a much better ODI and T20 bowler than Sam Curran.
You talked about Billings being a reliable middle order batsman. I mean, the one match name that comes to mind is David Malan, but he's not in the ODI squad.
He's
Surprising,
not in
but
the ODI.
anyways, I think it's part of their rotation policy, or I don't know what. But
Yeah.
anyways, it is what it is. So then number 6 is Butler. Number 7, Moeen Ali.
Moin. Yeah, Moin.
Yeah, especially after
That's
his
easy.
performance in the last
Yeah.
T20 against Pakistan, he's probably secured his place.
Yeah.
Uh, then I mean,
Followed
batting
by
order you can
Rashid.
argue. Yeah, or Chris Jordan maybe at 8.
Uh,
Or is he
Jordan,
going to play white ball? Maybe not.
Jordan in the ODIs, I'm not sure. I mean, it might be. Oh, apologies. We're forgetting one very important player who's Chris Wokes.
Oh yeah,
Maybe Chris Wokes at 7 and Moeen Ali at 8 or vice versa.
yeah,
That's fine. And then Adil Rashid, obviously.
9
And then you need two other medium pacers, and I think they're going to be Jofra Archer and Mark Wood. So I
yeah,
don't see any space for Tom Curran or Chris Jordan.
or
The
them.
ODIs at least. I mean,
So that
this is almost the team that played the World Cup final with a few, with a few
with
changes.
obviously no Ben Stokes.
Yeah, with no Ben Stokes. But yeah, apart from that, and no Liam Plunkett as well.
Yeah,
Apart from that, pretty much the same team, and I think England will carry on with that.
yeah, yeah. No, that's strong 11. And then Australia, obviously, no doubt who's going to open. Finch, Warner,
And
Steve
no doubt at
Smith.
3. Yeah,
Yeah, and
4 is going to
then
be Manas actually.
yeah, actually maybe Marnus 3 and Smith 4, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, they can switch
Yeah.
around depending on the conditions, depending on
Yeah.
the situation and conditions.
Yeah.
But
Apparently got a very good 100 in the practice. It's an inter-squad game, but he got 100 of 50 balls, right?
yeah, that was in a T20. But
Yeah.
Manas is actually working on 2 things. He's working on his power hitting, and
Yeah.
he's working on his bowling. And with a
Maybe
guy like,
maybe
sorry,
Babar Azam should shadow Marnus and his development as a T20 batsman.
I mean that's what I'm saying. That guy, right? If he says he's working on something, you
Yeah.
pretty much know that he's actually doing that. And
Yeah.
in a matter of 2 or 3 months, you're going to see a change. You're going to see
Yeah.
that hard work coming through in his performances.
Yeah.
So I think him at 4, and
Yeah.
Maxwell at 5, obviously.
Maxwell 5, Alex Carey at 6.
Alex Carey at 6, completely agree, no doubt there.
Yeah.
Um,
Stoinis 7.
Maybe I think number 7 for Australia is a bit of a question mark.
Yeah.
They haven't yet figured out their best ODI combination.
Yeah.
They've done that with their T20s. They know they've got
Yeah.
5-6 bowlers there.
Yeah.
I think it's a question mark for me who's going to bat number 7.
So, I
They
mean,
might they might go down the T20 route and pick Ashton Agar to bat at 7,
Yeah.
or they might then pick Stoinis at 7. I'm not quite sure. They also have another player called Daniel Sams,
Yeah.
who's a left armer, and he's an all-rounder. He did pretty well in the BBL last year, took 30 wickets in the season.
Yeah.
So you never know, they might throw a surprise, a
Yeah,
curveball.
maybe if they win if they are 2-0 ahead, which I doubt they will be, but they might give someone like a Josh Philippe a chance as well. He's
Yeah,
a young player. But he's a keeper, so maybe, but he's a good batsman also.
yeah.
So maybe he can come in at 5 or 6, and then they can move everyone down by one.
You might see more of Philippe in the IPL because he's playing for
Yeah,
RCB, so we might get a couple of games there.
yeah. No,
Um,
that'll be good to see. Then 8.
your 7 is a question mark, but
Yeah,
then your next 4 bowlers are pretty much set in stone. You've got Cummins at
Stark.
8,
Yeah,
Stark at 9, Zampa at 10, and Hazelwood at 11. So you've got those 4 bowlers who are completely.
Or Richardson for Hazelwood.
I think in the ODIs, I would go with Hazelwood. He's got a
Yeah,
good record. He obviously
yeah,
missed out on the World Cup, but in 2019. But I think he's got a much better record, and he's a much better ODI bowler
yeah,
than Richardson.
yeah,
So yeah, I think those guys are pretty much set in stone. So
yeah.
the question mark again comes down to number 7. You could go with Stoinis or Agar, but I would go with Stoinis.
Yeah, again, maybe depending on conditions. If it's a drier pitch, then they might go with Agar.
Agar,
That's the starting 11. What
yeah.
about your predictions?
It's a tough one, but again, I'm going to go. I'm going to go 2-1 to England.
Yeah,
Um, I think first one will be England, second one Australia, third one England. That's what I'm going to go with. So again, the key challenge, the key kind of matchup for me will be the Australian bowlers versus the England openers and top
yeah,
order. I think that's where the match will be won or lost.
yeah,
Given that Australia's bowling seems to be slightly stronger
yeah,
than I say seems to be, because
yeah,
clearly they had a similar bowling attack in the World Cup in the semi-finals and they
yeah,
got hammered.
yeah,
But on paper they seem to have a stronger bowling lineup. Um,
yeah,
yeah, and obviously England, their batting, their openers and their openers and top orders is pretty strong. So
yeah,
yeah, I think
yeah.
that's where the series can be won or lost.
I think if Jason Roy is fit, England will win 3-0 because that top 6 of Roy, Bairstow, Root, Morgan, Banton, Butler. uh,
Billings,
well, I'm not including Billings, right? If Roy is fit, I think that is they can literally score 500 on their day. So you never know, you know.
well, they're
Uh,
not. They're not playing a single game at Trent Bridge. So
yeah, that's sad.
question mark.
um, but yeah, I'm gonna stick my neck and 2-1 would have been a safer prediction, but you've already taken that, and I don't want to copy you, so I'm going to go with 3-0 to England.
3-0 to England. Wow. Okay, that's bold.
Yeah.
Um,
And we've lost another 50 subscribers from Australia, so we've lost 100 today, unfortunately. Which means there's more incentive for all our other audience to subscribe to our channel because if you're not an Indian supporter or an Australian supporter, please do support us.
Fair enough. So that's our discussion on the England-Australia series. Let us know, who you think will win the T20 series and the ODI series. And please watch out for the next couple of episodes, which is going to have a significant IPL focus, given
Yeah.
that the IPL is going to be starting in 2 weeks' time. So stay tuned, and please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.